Dear friends, I am Father Mandra and I warmly welcome you to CBS Lesson 7. In our previous session, we explored the biological foundations of seed germination and how the seed that fell on rocky ground failed, not because of the sun, but because of its lack of depth, root, and moisture. We connected these to the deeper mystery of the human person as a divine seed living within tension. Today, we deal with the seeds, human persons who grow up on strong structures like a rocky ground, firm, impressive, but lacking soil, root, and moisture. The seed rests on strength but cannot draw life. It stands on a platform but cannot go deep. This is both a spiritual diagnosis and a cultural crisis. Our reflection today is divided into three major parts. Part 1. The rocky ground as a mirror of world religions. Part 2. A focused look at Christianity, especially Catholic religious life. Part 3. A critical appraisal of religious vitality and the law of biological proportion. Before we begin, we listen once again to the gospel. Some seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil. They sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun rose, they were scorched. And because they had no root, they withered away. Gospel of Matthew chapter 13 verses 5 to 6. The parable begins with a scientifically accurate observation. The seed fails for three biological reasons. First, no depth of soil. Second, no root system. Third, no moisture reserve. As Luke adds in chapter 8 verse 6. Without this, the sunlight which normally gives life becomes destructive. This is not only agriculture, it is a mirror of our spiritual world. On rocky ground, the soil is thin. Seed sprout quickly because surface warmth and moisture are available. But the roots cannot penetrate the deeper layers. As sunlight intensifies, moisture evaporates rapidly. The plant collapses. Thus, the sun is not the problem. The root is the problem. Religions are rocky ground. Rocky ground symbolizes world religions and their massive structures, strong, organized, impressive, yet often with a limited inner soil. All major religions, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, show this pattern. Grand architecture, detailed rituals, strong cultural identity, organized systems, but structure cannot create depth. It can preserve, organize, and protect, but it cannot produce roots. When religion becomes primarily external, what to wear, what to repeat, how to perform, how to expand, market, and multiply, it grows quickly in identity, but withers under the sunlight of science, reason, suffering, and criticism. Religions rooted in reason, human dignity, equanimity, compassion, and inner experience convert sunlight into growth energy. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the plant's way of turning sunlight into food, into life energy. The same sunlight that burns shallow plants strengthens rooted ones. This is why many newcomers to religions become troubled or even destructive. They sit on strong structure, but the roots do not penetrate their life because there is no soil, no moisture, no depth. Let us now look at Christianity through this lens. The Christian movement began as encounter. Jesus meeting people, apostles gathering in homes, sharing bread, stories, and inner experience of Christ. It was relational, fluid, experiential. As numbers grew, structure became necessary. Hierarchy, liturgy, canon law, religious orders. These were the muscles of a growing body, but muscles alone cannot carry sap. When structure freezes, when prayer becomes routine, theology becomes abstract, community becomes mechanical, and ministry becomes a performance, the living seed overheats. The sunlight of grace becomes unbearable because there is no root system to absorb it. Young religious often enter with enthusiasm. They spring up quickly, but they wither under inner politics, monotony, institutional pressure, emotional exhaustion. Not because the sun is too strong, but because the root never went deep. But when the roots penetrate deeply into silence, compassion, self-awareness, and contemplative freedom, the same sunlight becomes transformative. What scorches the shallow sanctifies the rooted. Sociologist Max Weber called this the routinization of charisma, the freezing of a living experience into rigid structures. When institutions harden, authority replaces awakening, ritual replaces encounter, doctrine replaces discovery, performance replaces authenticity. In such environments, the sunlight of truth, scientific, emotional, or moral truth, becomes unbearable. Why? Because the truth exposes what lacks depth. Psychologically, this becomes a collective burnout. Spiritually, it is a loss of sap, the living spirit traveling from root to branch, the illusion of vitality. Today, religions measure vitality through visibility. Numbers in the church, vocations to congregation, number of institutions, financial stability, new missions and expansions. These are good, but they can also hide decay. The West shows us a clear example. Once flourishing churches now withering. Biology calls this surface compensation. Outward excess, hiding inward emptiness. When roots are weak, systems shout louder externally because they are dying internally. Every organism follows the law of root-shoot proportion. Nothing can grow taller than the roots can sustain. If shoots grow faster than roots, collapse is inevitable. Religions violate this law when they say, expand institutionally, grow numerically, multiply buildings and missions, but neglect deeper formation, fundamental human values, science-based spirituality, spiritual literacy, tolerance and equanimity, compassion, contemplative depth. History teaches us. Empires, dynasties, civilizations fell not because of external attack, but internal lack of depth. Without deep roots, even the greatest structure withers. Maybe not tomorrow, but certainly the day after. Soon sunlight, social pressure, moral crisis, scientific inquiry exposes the weak root system. What once seemed like prosperity reveals itself as decadence. Dear friends, the parable of the rocky ground is not a condemnation. It is an invitation. It calls religions and each of us to look beneath our structure. Structure is necessary, but structure without root is decadence. Depth requires eternal values, equanimity, compassion, contemplative rhythm, emotional grounding, inner biological awareness. Only then does sunlight, truth, progress, and grace stop burning and begin to bless. Let's ask ourselves, where are my roots? Where are the roots of our communities? The answer determines whether we wither or grow. Dear friends, thank you for joining CBS Lesson 7 at Bodhini Neural Chapel. In our next lesson, we explore the third ground, the seeds that fell among thorns. Let's continue to grow not only upward, but inward and downward, into depth, moisture, and life. Thank you.